Hello. I realize I'm the last session between you and Freedom, so I do appreciate everyone's attention. Thank you so much. And hopefully you had enough bubbles in you, right? Because that's what makes the session fun. My name is Jeffrey Lin. I lead our solution consulting team here at Content Square for all of APJ. And I will be not only a representative here today, but also your moderator. Right? It's not my primary job, but I'll do my best. So just play along with me. We'll have a good time together, okay? So today we're going to talk about beyond the benchmarks, how leading brands in Australia are staying ahead in 2026. And as you know, 2026 is a time of change with AI, with data, with everything around us. There's so much we need to learn and stay in front of. So because of that, we have a wonderful panel for all of you guys here today from very distinct brands, very distinguished brands here in Australia. And with that, I want to welcome our distinguished panelists to come out here today. Come on, guys, come on out. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining me here today. Thank you so much for traveling from Melbourne and everywhere else. Why don't we start with this? Team, let's go ahead and do a quick round of intro, starting with Chai.
All right. Hi, everybody. Chai Lim from Westpac. We're looking after digital optimization.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name's Ming. I look after all things performance and aggregators at Aljana. For those of you who haven't had us, we are a Lebanese charcoal chicken brand. Very humble beginnings with our first store started in Granville back in 1998. And now we've scaled over 50 locations across New South Wales, Victoria, and ACT. And our Sydney CB location actually just opened today. So, yeah, 151 Castlereagh Street. So, if you're hungry after this, feel free to give us a visit. So I guess in some simple terms, what I do at Aljana is really closing the gap between you having that food craving and placing that order from us. So yeah, really excited for this session.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Juanita. I'm Head of Digital Innovation at Independence Australia. We're a full-purpose brand. We support people to live independently through essential products and services. So my background's in digital transformation and product. I've had various roles at Independence Australia, and a lot of the common thread between those has been about building digital capability through our teams and our ecosystem. So yeah, looking forward to today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, thank you, team. Like I said, these are all your peers, right? We're here to learn from each other, see what's happening, right, and figure out things together. And that's really the premise of why we're here today, to share information, to share thoughts, to share successes and failures. So one thing I want to start with is kind of setting the scene for everyone here. Now, one thing that we've done here at Content for the last couple of years is that because we do have a lot of great industry, green booth that we have here, and maybe ask for a report, but the whole point of these reports is to allow you within your industry to see how you stack up against maybe similar peers from other places or even here in Australia. And as a result, we are actually wanting to provide for you a whole host of data to help you understand what type of trends, what type of effects, what kind of KPIs are most important as we come into 2026. So for instance, starting off with this first one, based on what we've seen in the last couple of years, probably in 2025, if we take a look at an aggregate of all different industries, we've seen traffic drop down by about 3.8% overall. In all retail verticals, we've seen a bigger drop or similar drop at negative 2.6%. And when you compare that over the last 3 years, I guess it's not all that surprising. We have AI, we have bots, we have crawlers, right? People are accessing information in very different places. But more importantly, how do we stay on top of that trend so that we're still getting in front of the right type of customers? Let's start with the first question. Ming, based on this data that we have here, right, does this kind of match what you're seeing on the ground? I mean, you live and breathe this every single day. I mean, what does that force you to kind of focus on?
Yeah, Jeff, definitely. I think we are seeing this trend apply to us. However, we actually have started not looking just at acquisition, but the lifetime value of a customer to us. We understand that, a new customer to Aljana is very much different to a local Aljana customer from Western Sydney. So with that, we've kind of stopped chasing the cheapest clicks per se, and really focus on strengthening our retention and retargeting strategy to help us. So once a customer enters through our flow, how do we get them to repeat purchase and come into the second or third order? Because we know that those customers are more valuable to us.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
frankly, right, they're a customer once, they're a customer for life, right? And that's what
Yeah,
we're really
for
aiming
sure.
for. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay.
Another one, AI enters the mix. Here's what we're saying, right? I guess it's no surprise that AI referred traffic growth around the world is up 623%. But you know what? That's still representative of maybe 0.2, 0.1% of all the traffic in the world. So there's a lot for growth. 55% AI referred traffic conversion rate, right? So that's actually a pretty high number because it's still fresh and new, right? But it shows that people's 10 habits are shifting over time, where AI is now becoming the front end for a lot of digital experiences. And then comparatively, compared to social, 1.3% of conversions from AI versus 0.7% for social. So I guess if someone asks, right, ask AI what bank, where to eat, or what disability equipment provider to trust, and it recommends maybe one of your brands, right, hopefully, right? How did that show up in your numbers today, if at all, right? I mean, Juanita, let me ask you this question, right? I mean, give me your perspective.
Now, look, in all honesty, we haven't seen that happen yet, and I think that's reflective of our core demographic. They're not the early AI adopters. They're not going to look for their equipment or services through chat quite yet. But what we're doing at the moment is preparing and really taking AI on as a readiness step for us. So that's about understanding the fundamentals to ensure that we are discoverable. So that's looking at our content structure. That's looking at our platform. Is your site crawlable for these AI? Is your data quality up to scratch? Because then, while you might not be an immediate activation, you're going to be ready to play in that ecosystem when the time comes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, from our perspective, attribution is difficult. You know, we don't know so much. There's so much we don't know about what's happening on chat and AI search. So it's really around getting ready. What does your content look like? So when they do come on, they're more engaged, and let's be honest, that's actually contributes to the first thing. They're cheaper because they've already built up some of that understanding about what your brand offering is. And so it's about how do you get your pages ready for that to happen? How do you get your experience ready so they can drop in at different parts of that funnel and still get a valuable experience that's going to get them further on to the next step?
Absolutely. And it's interesting because you think about this, right? How does it compare to maybe 30 years ago when search was the hot thing, right? And it's all about prepping, right? And ensuring that the brand aspect of it, the text aspect of it is up to snuff, right? So when traffic does come and we see that number 623% even go even higher, you guys are ready for that, right? And you're top of mind.
Yeah, I think with that as well, it's not really a one and done approach because you always need to be continuously producing content for the AI to scan to ensure, like right now, if you Google Sydney best charcoal chicken, we always want to be making sure we're in that top AI summary.
Absolutely. It's very true. Thank you, guys. All right, next one, localization, right? And like I said, we collect data from all around the world. And if we take a snapshot of what it looks like here in APJ and just keep it simple, Southeast Asia, Japan, Australia, I guess it's no surprise, right? KPIs and behaviors are going to be very different depending on where you're situated or type of segments you go after. I mean, for instance, we take, say, frustration rate, frustration score for that matter. Here in Australia, on the left-hand side, right? It causes about 33.9%, right, in terms of frustration rate based on overall behaviors and overall traffic. Comparatively, in Japan, it is the number one frustration at about 13% of all users. And compared to Asia, very, very different. My point here is you have to think about at a local level what's important to your end customers. But I guess I'll turn it over to you guys, right? I mean, from a localization perspective, what do you guys think is the most important KPI here for Australian audiences? Anybody?
I mean, those stats, I think when you look at it, it checks out with the Australian audience. I don't think anything is surprises there. But I think the wonderful thing about, I guess, Australia is how diverse and multicultural it is. So I guess when you think about planning your digital experience, it's not just to cater for one specific group. It's being able to address, and because we're a Lebanese brand and we're loud and proud, so it's just like, how can we stay authentic to our brand, welcome you guys and show you guys our generosity, but still make it an experience that Australians or like, you know, that's accustomed to them when they visit us.
Yeah, okay, and I think, you know, from our perspective as well, Big Four bank, we've got people from all walks of life. The cultural diversity is so important because you really need to be where they are. And I think that's what this speaks to, mobile first and high expectation. Are you where I am as a customer? Are you easy to access? And, you know, even if they convert on desktop, they're mobile first, let's get there. But you need to be accessible, you need to be close to them. And how you designing for that and also personalizing for that, I think, is the other part of this, where you can find, how do I adapt to personas, how do I adapt to each segment and provide them the cultural and the brand experience that they are looking for.
Yeah, I think we also design accessibility first. Being a disability organisation, when we look at, you know, I see that mobile first, but we have to embed accessibility throughout our entire digital experience. A lot of the times that's not as considered, or you might not think about that if you don't have to cater for it. But what I have noticed is that as we've built our site to be more responsive, it's naturally ensured that we've actually met better standards across WCAG. So that's been really great for us. The other thing is the different propositions from a metro and regional level. So we service across the eastern seaboard and then also the rural areas. So their expectations and their behaviours from a digital experience can be quite different. Regional want to know that they're serviced and will you actually deliver to me on time? Metro expect fast delivery, and so those value propositions being front and centre are also quite key.
And as I'm hearing kind of you guys are giving the answer, right? It seems that one thing that kind of stands out, and the common theme seems to be customers first, right? Whether it is, you know, chicken, or whether it's financial services, whether it's accessibility, right? Keeping them top of mind. And I guess it's no different from how we do things, right? 5, 10, 20 years ago. It's all about customer first. And then technology and aspects come later on. Would you agree with that?
Completely, I think. And to add on to that, this is an opportunity for us to use things like AI better because customers first, we can invest in using, like if you're not using AI search for doing persona testing, you need to do that. It's like, how is this persona looking at my website? How is this persona looking at my mobile app? And, you know, what am I delivering in terms of the signals for them to be customer first so that they've got the experience that they're looking for?
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, last one here, right? In terms of the benchmarks, and we kind of cherry-picked these because we thought these were interesting. But overall, you look at some of the metrics here. Are you surprised? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not, I'm going to guess, right? Because we've seen traffic become more and more expensive, right? At cost of acquisition has gone up every single year, right? You think of the big guys like the Googles and the Facebooks of the world, right? They make money in terms of charging people more for traffic. So overall, investments, right, are going to go up higher and higher each and every year. So that becomes even more important. How do you actually optimize those investments? So a question to the greater team here is, you know, where are the biggest drop-off points in your, or engagement gaps that you're trying to solve for, right? When you think of a funnel or customer journeys, obviously everyone has a different journey, but there's always going to be a drop-off point. I guess a two-part question is, what approaches have you tried to kind of fill in the gaps? Maybe we'll start with Chai here.
Well, let's start with one big thing, which is the funnel that we used to build no longer exists because everyone's journey is much more individualized. They will be disintermediated by AI search. Whatever it is, even normal search, they will be landing on pages that you didn't expect them to or didn't really want them to. So how do you then make it easy to, first of all, give them the content and the conversion that they need, rather than they've landed on a page further down the funnel with enough knowledge? How do you do that quickly and easily? And how do you then, as a business, start to attribute that back so that you know where do they land, how do they land, what does that engagement mean? I think we've got to get over the idea that there's one single traffic entry point that you can track and everyone feels happy about, because that engagement's changing very remarkably.
We're a customer of Content Square, so what we learnt when we were using some of the really activating Content Square was that our core drop-off was around our menu navigation and our search. We're currently going through a bit of a rebrand and rebuild at the moment, which is deploying in a few weeks. But what was very evident through session replays and zoning was that our customers were playing Wordle to try and find our products. or the products for them. And so really looking at that and understanding, okay, we've got some data problems, we've got our menus too clunky, they're not getting to the right categories in time. So these were all really key insights that have gone into this next iteration and delivery for us.
Yeah, I think for us, we're also a Content Square customer. Something that's been really helpful has been the heat maps, especially when we are looking at our rewards program. And it was funny when we were looking at the heat maps and where customers were engaging, a lot of them just jumped straight to the FAQs. So that kind of made us think, okay, obviously what we have as the first fold is not letting the customers, it's not giving them enough information that they don't understand how our program works, so they have to go and dig and look through the FAQs. So I think from those kind of insights, then we were able to then revamp our rewards page to now be more streamlined. So if you guys go on there, it's now a lot more simplified. You can kind of have a snapshot of what you can get instantly without really going through the FAQs.
With the FAQs, that's a really good one because what we've seen and what I'm seeing more is that we need to get comfortable as businesses that customers are not asking the questions that we want them to ask. They will ask the awkward stuff like, how much is your loan costing me? What is your loan doing to my life cost of living? Those questions are not the ones that marketing want them to ask. Let's be really honest about that. The business is uncomfortable, but they will ask it, and if they don't find it on our websites, they will find it in chat. And we don't want them to find it in chat. We want them to come to us because we are the source of truth. So how do we start adapting to that and measuring that, because that's what people are looking for.
And it's also true because you're collecting feedback around this, right? And aggregating upon that and taking action. But that's kind of the thing, right? Because at the end of the day, data is data, but how you take action upon it is going to help you drive your business forward in the right way. So thank you. Really quick, if you like what you saw here, please do ask for a copy for your industry and for your company. Outside, it's absolutely free. There's no cost to you or us, right? Put in your URL, we'll deliver the report to you, and you can see all the relevant KPIs that compare to your business, okay? Now, thank you, team. We're going to change gears a bit. And then the second portion, you guys are now going to be involved. We're going to play a little game called Spin the Wheel, Digital Leaders on the Record. And what this is that, first of all, please be honest and truthful, right? Who here does not have a wristband, color wristband? Definitely have a couple people. Okay. Do we have any more to give them? Do we have more wristbands or no? Okay. No more. Oh, do you have more wristbands? We have a couple folks. Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. Well, we'll figure this out then. All right. And what you're going to see here is we're going to have a couple of questions, right? And you guys are the confessionists here, right? And what this is that using your wristbands with the different colors, red, blue, or green, you're going to hold up your answer to the question, right? And be honest. Let's start with the first one. What's the one thing your website visitors do that drives you absolutely crazy? Is it the rage clicking everything? Is it the add to cart and then disappear? Is it the bounce in 3 seconds? Let's see them. Color.
Ooh.
What do you guys see? Red and greens.
Green.
Wow,
lot of green.
greens. Majority greens. All right. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Thank
I
you.
would have thought maybe blue would have taken over.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, let's start with Ming, right? I mean, you saw the audience response, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
great, yeah.
What's yours? You tell us.
For me, at Aljana, it would be actually blue. Yeah, I would say that's probably one of the most expensive heartbreaks. Like, you've done the customization of your chicken meal, like, you've gone through our website and then you left. What happened? I think for me, it's just like, we're so close. Like, what kind of is missing, or how can we improve the experience? So I think we always look at those friction points. And because we do a lot of CRO testing, I always start with, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of the time, as marketers, we overcompensate for a lot of things. And I think it's very humbling when you get the CRO test results back. We actually did one where we'd had a feed XX. So we're Lebanese, like, our meals are designed not like for families. I'm talking table packed with food. So we thought, hey, why don't we tell you this feast will feed 12 people? It turns out people actually don't care, or when we overshare, they actually don't trust that, hey, I don't think this will feed 12 people. So actually when we removed that, we saw conversion increase quite significantly. So I think it's just, it always takes us by surprise when it comes to that sort of things, and it just always have to go back to basics and use insights and close those friction points.
Yeah. I guess it also begs the question, like, when do you trust your gut versus when do you trust the data, right? In this case, we're trusting that data to give us the right answer. But I think it's more important that you can start with the hypotheses, test
Yeah,
your
for
assumptions,
sure.
right? And then
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
something where you thought, let's go.
Very humbling. When we think, hey, this is definitely going to add value, people will love it, and then it's just like, no.
So true. Anyone had anything else to add?
I'll agree with most of the people who had bounce in 3 seconds. I mean, come on, people, complete your page, scroll down. The good content's there. You just got to make it past the first 1.5 scrolls. Like, yeah, frustration.
I mean, we could always do a Clippy thing, right? And just have it help you out.
Oh, God, no, not Clippy, please, not Clippy. I mean, I think I'd be more interested in what we can put right up there to get people engaged with the page quickly. I really want them to just, there's so much good content on pages. And when you're in financial service, there's so much important content that we need you to look at before you sign up. So it's how do we get people to not look at it and go, I'm bored, exit.
Telling you, Clippy would work.
It's very evident now about how you design above the fold. Because, yeah, I feel like I've seen this play out a lot for us. If I could say all three, I would. But I think with the struggle of why aren't they scrolling, we've started to look at, okay, our banners are taking too much of our real estate. Just something as simple as that. And so those are some of the things that we're looking at, which could feel like a small change, but a really big impact.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's go on to the next one. Let's see what we come up with. Oh, future customer. Let's see what this is. Okay, guys, in 5 years, where will the most important customer experience happen? Is it red in store? Is it blue online? Is it green? Conversation/agent. What do you guys think? Let's see them. 2 blues. Oh, a couple blues.
Green.
Online.
Green again.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
1 red. Yeah, way to hang in there. Oh, now you're green. Okay, sorry. Fantastic. I guess conversation/agent, huh? So I think that seems to be the prevailing trend here. Juanita, digital innovation, right? I mean, where do you sit on this one?
Look, I would be voting green with a cadence, saying blue is still going to be very critical. Online is the foundation, but it's definitely moving to that direction. I think what we'll start to see is a bit of a convergence of support and e-commerce as an all-in-one journey. It became one of those things when back in the day, Google entered the dictionary. I think Ask ChatGPT is going to be a very similar cultural change for everyone. So it's being prepared and thinking about what you have to do to prepare for that.
I agree with that. But I think we also want, where I see it is, we also want an online-offline experience. Online, talk, investigate, research. But we want that offline conversation to build that relationship with a customer. Call up the contact center, talk to someone. We are a bank that can be trusted and financial services to be trusted, and you trust people. And that's what we want. We want to still have that connection and that relationship. So yes, I'm going to go for online, offline. We still need humans.
I hope so.
So do we.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Next one. Let's look at, say, AI predictions. Oh, this will be fun. If AI continues at this pace, what does your digital team look like in 3 years? Red, same as now. Blue, more automated. 3, skill set evolution. Skill set evolution. Green, blue.
Green
More
again.
automated. More. Nah. Same as now. Yeah. Strong. Awesome. Team, what do you think? It's a lot of greens, some blues, 2 reds, hold strong.
Good.
Chai.
Yeah, definitely. Green's skill set evolution. I would love for my teams to be the same or bigger. We, once again, humans making decisions and providing the strategy. but just this skill set's got to evolve. Data-informed decision-making, better use of engagement. How do we use AI at our pace rather than being forced down a path?
But I guess the follow-up question to that is like, how are you evolving the skill set? Like, what are you giving them in terms of resourcing? What are you thinking of?
It's supporting experimentation and supporting testing and supporting curiosity, especially around AI. The more that you can give people some guardrails about how they can use it, the better we can get in terms of using use cases. Like before I mentioned about the use of it for persona testing, you know, just providing some basic prompts and sharing that around with the business and being really open and just saying, you know, can we pull this in? How does this look? What do you guys think of that? And sharing that not just with your teams, but with product, with finance, with risk and things like that. And then sharing the knowledge and sharing the pain.
Sharing the knowledge, sharing the pain. I like that.
I think skill set evolution is the right terminology and way to look at it, because I'm sure everyone's felt the pressure around headcount and AI if it's going to completely change your team. Ultimately, the best way to look at it is reinvestment. You want to understand where AI is going to attribute you the most value, but it's not going to reduce headcount in your first year or so. Unless you're really going to go lean, the best way to kind of approach it is thinking about reinvestment. So continue to grow those skill sets in your team, grow different capability, and it's a tough conversation with your executives usually, but that's part of that learning curve and way of adopting AI.
Yeah, I agree with everyone. I think a few years ago, nobody knew what a prompt was, but now it's like, okay, prompts, and I always think your end result is always going to be as good as your brief. So now it's like, how do we evolve that skill set and like learn to write better prompts so we can get better outcomes from AI?
That's fair. And you know what? In kind of a pop culture reference, right? I mean, I think we're past the Skynet era, so hopefully we're in better times going forward. Terminator reference there, sorry. Okay.
So the question is, what is after the Skynet era? Because Skynet wins.
That's for the next sequel. Okay. All right, next one. What's your one bold prediction? I want to be bold, right? I want to talk about Skynet bold, right? By 2030. Everyone have a chance. Let's start with Ming.
Okay, wow. I think the experience of like browsing will look very different to now, where it's like more menu. You know, like I'm guilty of jumping on Uber Eats, scrolling for 30 minutes and end up eating something left over in my fridge. But I feel like in a few years' time, it will be more automated in a way that I guess AI will be able to help me know what I want to order based on my behavior, based on my location, based on my times, or any past behaviors. So I think when it comes to marketing, there will be more importance in getting in those AI systems and ensuring we get those recommendations. And how we would get that will be operational consistency, delivery sufficiency, and actually the end result as did the customer enjoy their food? Did they give you a good review? And all that information, I feel like, will feed the AI systems and kind of put us up to the map. I think it's like, how do you advertise to an AI agent versus a human that cares more about your brand and logos and sexy landing page? I don't know if you guys agree.
Well, bold prediction. I think I would say leaning a bit more into that e-commerce customer service journey, but it's actually looking at self-service is going to fundamentally change. It's not going to be just about that post-purchase piece where you start thinking about, you know, your order tracking, your returns, and some of those key things. It's actually going to be part of that discovery and consideration, self-service, and getting conversational support through the browsing. So whether that be generated by AI or you have a team powering that, it depends on the model, but I think that's what we'll start to see.
I think, I've been thinking about this, I think we will actually see a resurgence in engagement as a concept and engagement as an absolute driver, because with agents running things for us, with more personalization, prediction, and everything knows who we are, you're going to be consistently engaged with brands that you trust all the time. And that means, you know, Eljana's your go-to, Uber's your go-to. We're consistently engaged with them everywhere we are. That could be through devices, through cars, whatever it is. And we're going to be looking at engagement in a different way. Engagement isn't just going to be time spent on one thing. It's going to be what kind of absolute signals are we working with customers around loyalty. So yeah, thought I'd go big on that one.
You guys think? Nod? Agreed? No, it's true, right? I mean, I think we're still at an infant stage, right? The possibilities are pretty much infinite right now. But the thing that I think is what you guys are all doing right now is you're putting a stake in the sand. We're going to test it, iterate, and change over time. And I think that's true with every kind of digital revolution, right? I mean, when search came out, when social came out, there was always a lot of questions, right? And I think we hit a new era in terms of understanding and seeing what kind of fits together. But I think its core is still data that's driving the decision-making process rather than pure gut feel. And there's always a human element to it, but nonetheless, it's a marriage of the two that makes it so impactful. I don't know if you guys agree with that or...
Yeah, no, for sure. I think with technology advancements, there is still that human, obviously we're restaurants, do you know what I mean? So there's still that in-store element, like we still need to make sure our restaurants are clean. The best food experience is always going to be in-store because obviously unless you pay for priority on Uber Eats or something, your food might take a while to come. So you're always going to get it the freshest there. So I think for us, we can't forget kind of like where we started, and it's always that in-store experience, whether it's through music, the smell of the charcoal when the chicken's fresh, the garlic. So it's just like, although everything is moving very fast, there is still always like part of that human element, like how our staff greet you when you visit. So I think still going to be very much a core what we do.
Look, I think digital teams, we're just so used to constant change and trying to chase the next thing. There's different skills. I remember when Google Analytics changed their interface, I had a panic attack. I was like, oh my God, I haven't seen this in forever. So there's we've all gone through these phases where there's lots of change. And I think don't get too overwhelmed by that. A lot of the fundamentals and staying true to that and doing that well is going to ensure that you're going to have the right quality and putting customer first in those brand experiences. So, it might feel unglamorous, but when you're making sure you've got great infrastructure, your content's up to scratch, and you've got great data, and you're using it, it's not just sitting there. It becomes information. It allows you to feel less overwhelmed by the future.
Yeah, I remember that the whole GA upgrade was just painful. So many articles that I went through reading about how bad the experience was. But anyway, personal nightmare aside. At the end, it's still human experiences. It's all about human experiences. You've got a human customer at the end, and I'm not a fan of the concept of data-driven decisions. I think we should be data-educated, and I think there's a big difference in that because we use the data, but we still have to make human decisions because it's humans eating our chicken, humans who need the accessibility, and humans who do the banking.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, you know what? There's humans, all of us, right? And so the best human experience right now is ending this and everyone getting a drink outside. So I want to thank you for your time today and a big round of applause for our panelists.